I always use the term like it's got to have a bit of sausage and a bit of sizzle. So like sausage is your product, like your product's got to come in the right places. But the sizzle is the emotional stuff. It's the storytelling. It's the stuff that people remember, and it's the stuff that over a long term, gets you that emotional connection.
How did a business like Yoco end up even with a position like head of brand, and how did you find yourself in that position?
The short story here was that a couple of years ago, the head of brand position didn't exist, and in fact, there was no brand team. Yoco, and in the startup phase that they were at, and in many respects we're still at, the sort of mentality is usually growth hacking. It's performance marketing. We are a business that sells the vast majority of our products in an e-commerce format, and use digital marketing to do that. So very much had the popular opinion of a very specialized growth marketing team who spent all of their days, using hardcore SEO, PPC, SEM, social media marketing, like the whole shebang, to try and sell card machines, and didn't spend too much time trying to think about the long term, the 3 year or 5 year horizon, and to build long-term brand love. And we felt that we were falling into this trap of being too short-sighted, actually. And although the metrics were looking good on a monthly basis, we really believed, and increasingly believe, that the role of brand is where the real differentiation lies in the long term, and that the core job of a brand team is to build a really strong competitive moat around yourself, so that if competitors do come in with a really like low price product or some like fantastic promotion or some campaign, you're not going to feel the effects of that, because you have a moat and you have really loyal users and advocates and brand love. So we split the team, and that's what it boiled down to. Was that the growth team was split into two: short-term focused growth marketing, and then long-term focused brand marketing. And at that point, I was asked to head up the brand team and to build it up. And 2 years later, that's where we're at.
I'm a believer in digital marketing and performance marketing, but I think it's become quite a one trick pony. So every company believes like if we're doing this, we're kind of doing enough. And I love that the leadership at Yoco saw that gap and actually addressed it, because I think it is, I think you framed it very well. It's short term. The growth hacking and the performance marketing is very short term, because as soon as you turn it off, it stops.
Yeah.
And the brand is what's going to start pulling people and getting people to come in on their own.
And growth marketing it's very logic based. So, everything is about the numbers. Everything is about, just turning that dial just a tiny bit more and reducing your customer acquisition cost just a little bit more. But it's usually not combined with creatives, and it's usually combined with a bunch of scientists. And, scientists can only take you so far. If you don't have that creative input and that strong creative bent, like, you will lose the magic, and then you'll become all about the logic. And the logic is, well, it's replicatable. That's the truth. Whereas magic is really hard to replicate. And you can get disproportionate long-term advantage from a really solid combination of magic and logic. And I really believe you need those two things working together, because, I think that good creativity is good business. It's about creating an environment, for me, which is more important, where strong creativity is given a lot of love. And it's not an environment, which is so often the case in big corporates, where creativity is actually squashed right at the start, through approval processes and people who are a little bit scared, and generally senior leadership who doesn't believe in the power of creativity. And I think that's the huge bonus of Yoco, is that the founders are the ones that are pushing us the hardest. I love the phrase, a camel is just a horse made by committee, right? And that's That's the truth, man. If you have too many people trying to like massage your idea into something which is okay, which is gonna like approve, like everyone's gonna be approve of, your shareholders are gonna approve of it, and your leadership gonna approve of it, like it's gonna be a bad idea by the end of it.
Now, you did quite a big shift in the way Yoco was communicating in your first sort of year or two at Yoco. Like, well, can you talk a little bit about how you shifted the way you were talking about the brand and what that shift looked like?
There was a realization for me early on in this process that the real gold that we had at Yoco was our customers' stories, not our own story. Our story was interesting. It was a story of a tech brand that was creating access to services and technology which previously were really, really only the few could get access to. So there was a fantastic democratization story going on. But actually, the real nuggets of gold lay in what impact some of that technology was having on our customers. And even more so when you dug deeper there, the incredible richness that lived in the small business and does live in the small business sector in South Africa, of amazing people doing amazing things on a daily basis. And for us, it was quickly became obvious that our marketing strategy was just about becoming the loud hailer for their stories, not our own stories. So if everything we did was to shine a light on the incredible stories that were coming out of small business South Africa, then in the long run, that would come back to us in spades as a brand. It is the most important sector in South Africa, yet it doesn't have a voice. It's got almost no one that's championing small business in South Africa. And for us, that became our role. Very early on, we realized that's got to be our role. All we do is shine a light on the stuff that's happening out there. And our tagline is "Let's grow," but that's really bought on the fact that our success is just intricately linked to small business success. So if small business grows, we end up growing, and therefore, one way or another, we're in bed together. So we must tell each other stories. We talk about an 80-20 mix where we talk about ourselves 20% of the time and our customers 80% of the time. That's not a hard and fast rule. That's kind of a mindset more than anything. It sets the guardrails of, guys, this is our job. Our job is not to tell our own story. Actually, I always use the term like, it's got to have a bit of sausage and a bit of sizzle. So like sausage is your product, like your product's got to come in the right places. But the sizzle is the emotional stuff. It's the storytelling. It's the stuff that people remember. And it's the stuff that over a long term, gets you that emotional connection. So you shouldn't have all sizzle without some of that product sausage. But at the same time, I think, the job of brand building is on the sizzle side.
I think every company that's got an audience should be talking about them. I think what you do is ultimately for someone else. Like if you in business, like you providing a service or a product or something to someone else, and when you talking, you should be talking about what you do for them and not talking about how amazing and wonderful you are, because it almost forces people to have to make that leap themselves.
I think the concept of having a strong community of customers who are at the center of that community and can become your evangelists over time as well, and you have the ability to have two-way conversations all the time, is absolutely critical for both brand building but also just building your business.
Hello YouTube, I'm Ross Drakes. I'm the founder of Nicework, and thank you so much for your time at watching this video. If you're seeing me, it means you made it all the way to the end, so we've at least done something right. If you enjoyed this, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I think more important than that is if you know someone who might need to hear this, if you think someone out there who needs this message in their life, please spread the link, because it makes a huge difference to the world, and it allows us to fulfill our message of making sure that there are no more bad brands in the world. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next video.